guys, my name is Shen, and today we're going to talk about this book called Hands-on History, Volume 1, Age of Discovery. Now, this is going to be a video series that I'm going to continue until I get to the very end of these books. And since today, we're going to do Ancient Civilizations, Volume 1. But if you're just curious about what the other 3 volumes are, I'll show you this. The second one is my favorite, Hands-on History, Middle Ages. The third one, hey, this is Soldier from my country. Volume 3, The Age of Discovery. This is where Christopher Columbus found North America, the Americas. And the last one is The Age of Imperialism, which is where science, physics, mathematics has started. And all of these books are written by Stephen Powell and Han Che. And we're going to start with Hands-on History, Ancient Civilizations. End of introduction. Oh, and also, look at my notes. Now, since you saw my notes, let's dig into our Unit 1. But before we start Unit 1, I want to ask you something. But first, I'll open it. Too much. If you're the king or queen of a group of people, then where would you start your kingdom? I would start in a place where there's rich soil, nutrients, and blah blah blah. Duh. But science is my favorite subject, though. Now, okay, let's dig into our unit. Lesson 1, the Sumerians. The Sumerians are a type of people who are part of a civilization, the first civilization. This first civilization is the Mesopotamia. It's where it started. But let's ask ourselves, what does civilization mean? Well, civilization means that there is a community or a group of people, you can say, that has a particular art, writing, like Hanguk and stuff, and cities. Of course you need cities. Where would you live? Homes, duh. Cut! Okay. Now these are a lot of things that you might have not studied in your whole entire life and your past. But we're gonna learn that right now. You are more important than food. Okay. Now, by 300 BC, villages in Mesopotamia have been growing and growing and growing. You know what villages are. If you don't, it's like a town, only with fewer houses. Yeah, fewer houses. Now, as I said earlier, in 300 BC, the villages grew bigger and bigger, and they became cities, like that little hotel. See? Okay, let's get back to our point. The Sumerians are very civilized, in my opinion. And I'd say that by civilized, I mean very civilized. I'll tell you why. The inventive Sumerians, they're very inventive. I always wanted to make my own invention. I wanted to call it the Omnitrix, but I don't have the right materials to do it. But these inventive Sumerians made stuff that looked like, it's not a big invention. I shouldn't have did that. Cut! Okay. It might not look modern to us, but it is modern. It's like wheel, writing, like the symbols and stuff, and the sailboat, schools. They don't look like very important to you, eh? Oh, but they are. Well, you might say that they're not so important because you can just do any job you want, but that's not it. Okay. You might say all our modern things like medicine, genetics, like how we learned that stuff, science, math, physics, and other subjects are not in ancient civilizations. They're not even made from ancient civilizations. That is correct, but we're gonna be discussing that in our next series of videos. Now, I also heard that Mesopotamia, it means between two rivers. Yeah, that's true. Mesopotamia means between two rivers, but we'll cover that in our next part. Okay. As I said, all of us humans, scientists to people, to other people in the world, everybody in the world, even criminals, say that writing is the most important invention that the Sumerians ever made. Their writing system is called cuneiform. Also, they make canals so they can water their farms and stuff. Also, they have limited supplies to. Sometimes they have limited supplies to supplies because they are on war every time. The people are attacking each other and they want more farmland. Okay? Now got to the Sargon, the king of Akkad. Now the Sumerians were attacked by a bunch of people called the Semites. You might have seen that in the map I showed you in the previous note. And the king they conquered the whole Sumerian Mesopotamia completely. And the first king to conquer it was called what was it called? Sargon. Of course, it's Sargon. Also, they had different religions. It was free of religion. Also, they had some epic stories, like Epic of Gilgamesh. It's like a story of a king who tries to find something like medicine, so he can live forever. It's kind of like the Chinese kings, though. But we'll explain that later. I will explain that later. Now, this is also a conquer. What is conquer, anyways? You might ask. Well, conquer means to take control or just get the control of a country so they can rule it. But they don't just do it by words. They use force. Well, they fight. And when the Semites took over all of Mesopotamia, the Sumerians, they did some good stuff, so not like the things you might think of what the people conquer stuff might do. Instead of just getting slaves, they didn't use slaves, but the slaves were treated nicely. So, okay. There's one more thing I want to tell you. Where's the book? Now look at the map. Look at this map. See this little crescent? Yeah, this is a crescent, and it's called a fertile crescent. And this is where farmland is most available, and it's part of Egypt, I heard. It is even said in here. Now, this part is wanted by the Semites, which is right here. So they attack Mesopotamia, which is between these two rivers. The one on the top is called Tigris River, and the one on the bottom is called the Euphrates River. Okay. And this is part Africa and part Asia. This part, Mesopotamia, is modern-day Syria and Iraq. And they're a bit complicated, and they're still on war, though, every day. It started nearby the Mediterranean Sea, and it ends right at the Persian Gulf. You might have saw this map in my notes. Now, farming was very important for the Sumerians and Semites. Without farming, they couldn't grow food. And if you don't grow food, you get die. And if you die, humans will die. Other humans will die. Or you can just get hunted by other animals. And, well, yeah. Well, I'll see you later. Shanann, out. Okay, now let's go to my extra history. Now, this extra history might not be needed for you, but I think it still fits in this part. Okay, welcome to Extra History! This is a part of our series of videos that I think it's not part of our main topic of the unit we're studying, but I think it still perfects it, like a piece of the puzzle is in it. Well, let's go into it. Now, you might have heard of Egypt, right? The Egypt was very, very hot with pyramids. Cool pyramids! Well, the Egypt, I heard, is part of the Fertile Crescent. The Nile River, which it is built on, floods once a year annually, and that's how they make the flooding of the Nile River makes the Egyptian soils to be fertile, like the soils in the Fertile Crescent, but it's just a bit more hot. So don't go to Egypt without sunscreen and water. Yeah. And here are also 4 basic things to do to grow a plant. Wait, this is just an extra thing activity if you just want to do it. If you don't want to do it, just skip this part. Number 1, just dig a hole. Number 2, put a seed in it, any kind of seed you want. And then cover the hole up and water it and wait for a few days. After the few days, or you can just go for a few weeks, you will see a plant. And if you just leave it alone for a few weeks, it will just eventually die if you don't water it regularly. Okay, back to our extra history. My extra history, there's also some calculation in extra history that is also some kind of killing stuff. Now, this is today in Syria and Iraq, I mentioned earlier in my explanation video, but I just want to say it again, is that they're still on war together. Yeah. And Mesopotamia means between the rivers. Well, that makes sense because there are 2 rivers between Mesopotamia, actually, outside Mesopotamia. The yellow highlighted in my notes is Mesopotamia. And you might know Semites, right? Semites are like those little angry killers that I mentioned in my explanation video. When they conquered Mesopotamia, they didn't take all of it. First, they were in it, and then they just got one city saved. And then they just conquered all of it. But they didn't take slaves. They did take slaves, but they were treated very good. Not like the slaves, you might say, and slapped on the whip. They did not do that. The whip wasn't even invented yet. Now, our sailboats are very interesting in my opinion. And also, here's one thing. After a few years from Mesopotamia, there was the Middle Ages. This is where science, physics, mathematics, and all the other subjects you can say, like English and stuff, started. Boom! And this is where they made iron and bronze stuff. But I think iron is the strongest one. And this was made, well, somewhere near Mesopotamia zone. And this is happened after farming was, well, almost got rid of. But it still exists, though. Now, when villages were invented, they also domesticated animals. Animals are like the pigs, cows, dogs, like they're wolves, and also cats. But there are more, no, cats out there. And also, long ago, there was a lot of things that can happen. They can eat meat, they can eat vegetables, fruit, and free Wi-Fi. Wait, there's no Wi-Fi back then. Wait, there's no Wi-Fi. Okay. Now, all those things you say are already invented, but they aren't. They are still trying they are still waiting for someone with a curious mind to invent it. You might invent something one day. And the seas that I told you earlier, or the Mediterranean Sea and the Persian Gulf, they are both oceans, but they are linked together. They are linked together. If you see the whole map, there are a lot of empty space between those puts of lands, and they are water. The Mediterranean Sea and the Persian Gulf are linked together by the Atlantic and the Indian and the Arctic Ocean. Okay, time's up. If you want to learn about Unit 2, then go into my other video that will be uploaded in my next video in the series. And also, if I do ask a question, please answer them in the comments below. And today's question is, where is Mesopotamia? Where is Mesopotamia? Is that A, between the Tigris and Euphrates River? B, in the Mississippi River? Or C, in the Indian Ocean? Please select the ones, and I'll see you next time. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Shanahan out!